what they offer you is gray and promises dystopian control. They offer you safety and security purchased with the currency of your freedoms. But on this channel, we say absolutely not. The warmth and freedom of individual liberty will pass on from us to the next generation, and it starts right now. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, how we're going to fix this bad boy together. Guys, we have got to talk about something about all the things that have to happen going forward. I'm going to walk you through the essential pieces of information that you need to know for this Hearing Protection Act to continue on and become law. This is how the sausage is about to be made. You need to know all the ins and outs so that we can not only be aware and share, but also get in front of. This is the final push, and this information you need to share out, and make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, because we are fighting for our rights. Knowledge is power. All the other platitudes that make it seem like you need to do it, let's get it. Everything will be linked in the description box below. Thank you so much in advance for you guys taking part in this fight, because it is an honor, a privilege, and I am excited to be here with you. All right, let's get right over to what we're going to talk about. This is on my X profile. I am posting all of this stuff religiously. Guys, this is where it's happening. This is the live updates. It happens even faster than my YouTube channel. Make sure, at Braden LOA on X, so you guys can take part in the conversation and spread this stuff out so we further our rights. All right, let's get into this. So I made a post last night, and this is an important piece I felt to put out there, and 40,000 people shared this out. So, amazing. Update: Suppressor NFA removal in the Senate. Share and follow the details as they happen. The Hearing Protection Act is entering into the Senate from a power position, and in the bill would have to be removed by a Republican committee. So, I'm going to walk through this and then show you some other things and some other sources, which will all be linked. When we're talking about where the Hearing Protection Act left the House, extreme power position. The reason that we hit this so hard in the front end is because it's a lot harder to take something out from the Senate than to us beg and then put it in. It's in there. Suppressor removal from the Hearing Protection Act in the NFA is in there in the bill that passed the House, done, closed, as I mentioned in my short earlier today. It's a lot harder for them to take away goodies than for us to ask them to put them back in. Understand, that's the position. And if they were to be taken out, again, a big if, it would have to be taken out by a Republican committee. Again, that's the lay of the land on the suppressor removal portion of the HPA. Now, if we're going into considering and pushing for the Short Act, here's what would have to happen. Same thing. The Short Act would have to be requested and then added by the Republican committees before it goes to the overall broad Senate for X amount of debate, which I'm going to show you in a second, and then the Byrd rule. All of this stuff is tied together in the sausage making, but you need to be aware of what the lay of the land, okay? And overall, personally, collectively, we need to be calling our Senate offices and supporting preservation of the HPA and addition of the short. That's very important. We have to continue to push for the preservation politely, and we need to focus very hard on the addition of the short. If that's something that you guys want, the time is to put the ask on the short and the demand on preservation of the HPA, because right now, we're in a very solid position, and it continues the more you guys continue. But now let me get to the point of where this is and what you guys need to know, because all this stuff is crucial. GOA just put this out on their X profile. If I just zoom down and show you, this is an amazing infographic. It's passed the House, now we're in the Senate. After it does the Senate and it adds the Short Act, then it goes into conference committee. If nothing changes in the bill, which is highly unlikely, it's just going to go straight to the president. What's more likely going to happen is there are going to be some minor and subtle changes on the Senate, and then it's going to go back to the House for a conference committee, which basically goes and says, hey, the House, we agree, cool, awesome, good, go team. That's literally it. So we're over 50% of the way there, and the hardest part, in my opinion, has been completed in the win column. But now, let me show you the big specter on the horizon. And again, all this stuff is crucially important for you guys to send out so you are fully aware of what's happening. This is on congress.gov and the reconciliation process. Again, everything linked. I always bring receipts. In the Senate, a reconciliation bill enjoys certain privileges unavailable to most other bills and resolutions, which is why this is a big, huge deal for us. It is not required to lie over 1 day before it can be considered, and the motion to proceed is not debatable. Pursuant to the Budget Act, debate on the reconciliation bill is limited to 20 hours, 10 hours for a conference report, which means cloture is not required to reach a final vote. Let me break that down into translation normal English. Effectively, they don't need the filibuster proof majority of 60 votes in the Senate. They have to get 50 plus 1. Right now, we are sitting at 54 Republican senators, and we are sitting with one vice president to overrule any tie. So we are sitting really solid. Now, I'm going to make a little brief side quest here for you real quick, because a lot of you, I can almost hear you before you even type it. What about the rhinos? What about Murkowski? What about Collins? This right here, I just posted about this. The Senate leans towards preserving much of Trump's big, beautiful bill, but I want to show this language. I'm going to do a whole video on this in a minute. This is just a snippet. I don't know about blowing things up, Senator Lisa Murkowski said of Alaska. You can kind of see the writing on the wall here. You've got Republicans in the House who have been able to move something out. You've got a Republican majority here, and you have a president who very clearly wants this to pass, Murkowski said. That's one of the main rhinos. Again, much more to come on that, but you have to understand where the lay of the land is. They don't have to go through the filibuster. The normal problem children and the independence leaning of the Republicans are going, yeah, it's going to happen. You might as well just deal with it. Guys, keep piling on. This is not the time to let off, but we are moving. All right, guys, a couple more things for you, and this is the last piece that you need to be aware of. What is the Byrd rule? Okay, I'm just going to read it to you from congress.gov. Also known as the Byrd rule, is intended to limit the content of the reconciliation bill to only those changes necessary to align federal spending and revenue laws with the levels adopted in the budget resolution. To accomplish this, the Byrd rule establishes a point of order against extraneous matter and sets forth the 6 tests to use to identify offending provisions. This is what they're going to try to get it out with on the left. Okay. Chris Murphy is going to get up there and say, hey, we can't get suppressors removed from the NFA because that's not something that's budget related. It's policy related. Senator or parliamentarian, can you use the Byrd rule to strike that? Now, I'm going to walk through why we've insulated that, but there's other things here too. Here's the 6 rules. A provision is considered extraneous in the Senate if it meets one or more of the following. One or more, so any of these. It's extraneous or does not count if does not produce a change in the outlays of revenue, including changes resulting from a change in terms and conditions which outlaws are made under revenues are collected. So if it's not revenue generated. It produces an increase in outlays or a decrease in revenues when the instructed committee is not in compliance. It is outside of the jurisdiction of the committee that submitted the title. It produces a change in outlays, or revenues that is merely incidental to non-budgetary components. It would increase the deficit in any fiscal year beyond the years covered. It would amend Title II of the Social Security Act. Okay, genuinely, what they're going to hit on is this first one. It's not a budget item. That's what they're going to hit on. They're going to challenge it there. Here's what's going to happen. This is not a question. This is going to happen. It's almost like I'm telling you the future. Chris Murphy is going to do this. I'm putting my money on Chris Murphy. A senator may raise a point of order that includes one or multiple potential violations of the Byrd rule in the pending measure. However, the presiding officer rules on each potential violation separately. Some, all, or none may be sustained. Prior to the presiding officer ruling, a motion to waive the point of order can be made with respect to some or all of the potential violations and requires the affirmative vote of 3/5 of the Senate, duly chosen and sworn. So basically, if this goes against us, we have to get the filibuster numbers to say, no, that's wrong. That's not going to happen. It's coming straight down to the presiding officer, which is the parliamentarian. This is what they're going to try to hit this on. Chris Murphy's going to make a point of order to stop suppressors removal from the NFA. That's their last-ditch effort. That's why in the language that passed the House, it says about the taxes of cutting the taxes down to $0. It's tying it to budget and it's providing a backfall worst-case scenario. So that's where we're at right now on the Senate. But this is the most important part right here. I already showed you Lisa Murkowski, the independents, the Susan Collins, all of them see the writing on the wall, and they've pretty much thrown up their hands that they don't have the negotiating power they usually do. It's going to happen. Now we need to make sure that that suppressor HPA language is still in the final, along with the Short Act. We do those things, Bob's your uncle. It's getting removed from the NFA. And that is where the lay of the land at this current moment. Make sure that you guys are following me at Braden LOA on X, because this is how we make this work. We are grinding. We are over 50% of the way there. All we need to do now is push it over the finish line and celebrate till the day is long. All right, guys, listen, I got a lot of stuff coming. I'm going to dive into a lot more things. This is so crucial of a time. Make sure you're staying involved, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.